Hello, Louisville. Guess who's coming to dinner? Hello, Louisville. Happy Monday. Oh, we've got some things going on in the Ville. This city is just bubbling. We're bubbling with good stuff. We're bubbling with some crazy stuff. We're still bubbling with some violence. You know, we got to find a way to curb the violence. And so, in speaking of curbing the violence, you know, it's wonderful when you can talk about some good news. You know, some good news, some good works that's happening in the city. You know, everybody seems to always hear about the bad. But the good news doesn't travel as fast. But today, I got something for you. And I said for you. We have a gentleman with us today who is bringing us some of that good news. And that would be the VP of External Affairs, none other than of Goodwill, none other than Mr. DeVone Holt. Hey, DeVone, how you doing, sweetie?
I need to take you on the road with me. I love that.
Hey, look, I'm ready to go. Look, you know I'm ready to go on the road. I haven't been on the road in so long, I might not know how to act.
Oh, the road needs you. Trust me. Trust me.
Well, I want to say, let me tell you what happened. Mm-hmm. A couple of weeks ago, I attended the graduation of a RISE program.
Oh, yes. Yeah. One of my absolute favorite programs at Goodwill.
Well, I'm going to tell you that Miss Tina Ashby is all that.
She is. She is.
Her heart, her soul is in it. You know, she says she's God-driven. And I think you have to be kind of God-driven to really work with people.
I think you do.
You know, it's not for everybody.
It's not, but I tell you, she is the perfect person for that role. She's doing an incredible job of managing a group of men and women, in most cases, who are re-entering society after having spent some time incarcerated. And the RISE program stands for, it's an acronym that stands for Reintegrating Individuals Successfully Every Day. And so every day, Tina Ashby wakes up with one mission in mind, and that's to help the men and women in that program figure out how they get plugged back into society and are able to operate, perform, and compete at an optimal level in order to rebuild their lives. And it is a phenomenal, phenomenal program.
Well, let me tell you, I didn't have a dry eye. You know, and I said, you know, because I went there, I met Miss Tina because she saw my interview with Miss Ruby Hyde.
Okay.
Miss Smoketown. You know? And so she made comment about it, and Ruby says, well, this young lady, she wants to meet you. She wants you to come to see the graduation. I said, certainly. So I went there, DeVone, I was crying like a baby.
It'll make you do that, won't it?
I was like, and I wasn't going to say anything, but at the end of it, she said, well, if anybody wants to have some words to share with the, I couldn't wait because I wanted to say, they spoke so eloquently. You know, they all had on their vision boards, they all had found Christ in some way in their lives, which was, I mean, how inspirational is that? Number one, just on its own.
Right.
And so I sat there and I tried to say something to them just to motivate them and encourage them, because I felt I got a real good sense of what Miss Tina was doing and what that program offered them, because they were all in. You know,
she reached out and she said, you know, DeVone, I know you're busy. Calendar is always full. And she was right. Busy, calendar stays full. But she said, I would love it if you would commit to doing a workshop for the RISE class every class that we have. And so we have at least one a month. And that class learns so much in the course of the time that they are with Goodwill. And one of the things that we talk about in the course that I teach is a workshop called Finding Success. And
Okay.
we talk really candidly about what finding success means, what it looks like, how it's personal, and then the things that you need to do to prepare yourself for success.
Mm-hmm.
Success is essentially about identifying a goal and working to achieve it. And that means that success can look a lot different for a lot of different people. It doesn't
Right.
always look the same.
Right.
But there are certain things that are required of you if you are going to be successful. For instance, discipline. You have to be
Wow.
disciplined if you
Good
want to
one.
be successful.
Yeah.
And so we talk about discipline and we break that down. And you talk about the graduation. The last class that I did, we couldn't get off because everybody was crying.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
It's just so many emotions, so many people who are ready to contribute, and quite frankly, just need somebody to tell them that they can
Right.
and believe in them and invest in them. And when they start to see that, the chest gets puffed up a little bit.
Yeah.
They start walking with a little bit more
Yeah, with a little
confidence.
swagger.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I
They
think
don't feel like they're alone.
that's right. That's right.
They've got somebody now. They not only have like Miss Tina behind them, but they've got a whole organization behind them.
That's right. That's right. And that's what
Because a lot of them are getting jobs, right?
Oh, a lot of them. Yeah, that's the plan. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, the graduation that you attended, there were several participants who couldn't attend because they got jobs before the graduation started.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and so that becomes part of the end game for how we manage them through this process. It's to get them ready and prepared to enter the workforce. And now, they don't enter the workforce as CEOs, but they get an opportunity to start their careers in a place where they can show an employer what they can do, and they can start to build a work history and really start to get familiarized or refamiliarized in some cases with the work environment. And so through that process, they get more and more comfortable, but all the while, they're still connected and still engaged with the career coach at Goodwill, who's holding their hand, who's checking up on them, and making sure they're doing all the right things in order to find long-term success. Because that's what the goal is long-term success and self-sufficiency. Those two words, those two phrases: self-sufficiency, long-term success. We prepare them for that, and our community is better, Ms. Janice, when we do that.
I believe of the programs that I have heard about. Now, RISE is just one of them, but the age limit for RISE is 18 and over.
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's not just people coming out of prison, but people that have had some addiction problems.
That's absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. But what we learned, though, is that many people who are recovering from addiction histories, in most cases, do have some
kind of
criminal back.
Okay, I got you.
And so they might not have just come out, but they do have some experience and some interaction with the criminal justice system. And so the idea is to help them move beyond that.
And this time in our society, DeVone, it's like, okay, this is second chance decade.
Yes,
okay, even after all the social justice protests last year period, and they're still going on,
right?
But to know that now people are paying attention to the inequities in our race,
and they are real.
That's what we have been dealing with. I've got a thing. I'm gonna write a piece. I write music, but I'm gonna write a piece because and it's called "It Happened." And the things that they don't want to talk about in our history, they happened.
They happened. They happened.
They happened, man.
They did.
So now that so if everybody's saying, "Oh, we didn't know this, we were unaware. Let's see if we can make it right."
Yeah,
we're on top of that.
Well, the one thing that I've learned, and I'm sure you know this as well, is that you can't fix what you won't face.
That's a nice one.
If you're not even willing to face it, there's no chance that
no way you're gonna fix it. You're
As I
right.
think about our society and the things that we are struggling with as a country, as a state, as a city
Right.
here in Louisville, particularly, there's certain things that we just got to be willing to confront
Okay.
and deal with them in a real way. They might not always be comfortable. Sometimes they're going to make us extremely uncomfortable. But
Right.
the only way you can get to that comfortable place is fighting through that uncomfortable moment or those uncomfortable moments. And that's part of what we do at Goodwill when we talk with people who are trying to rebuild their lives. You can't snap your finger and go from gloom and doom to light and bright. There's
Right.
a process that you work yourself through in order to get to that light and bright place. And we can all get there, I believe it. But it's not by forgetting what happened in the past and not addressing things that created challenges and problems for us in the past. It's about acknowledging those, but then charting a course to move forward and get beyond that. And I think as individuals, we need to do that. And as a community, we definitely need to do that.
We build on it. This show came about just like you said, to have the conversation. I said,
Mm.
okay, so now I think they're ready to have the conversation.
I think you're right. Yeah.
You know, so my idea for the show was we have a conversation over dinner, which we will have.
I
Uh,
want something too.
look, we're
Yeah.
gonna have a conversation over dinner. I'm gonna have at least two guests. We're gonna have meals prepared by Black chefs in the
Oh, that's
community.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Okay,
That's
and
beautiful.
just talk about what's going on, because
Mhm.
we have to, then we can find the, it's about maybe finding some solutions as
Right.
well.
Right. Right.
But I want to say, I want you to tell us all about the good works. Give me an overview of Goodwill's plan for the city, and then I also want you to focus on the plan for the new 28th Street facility.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, so Goodwill, in a few years we will be celebrating our 100th year anniversary
Okay,
here in Louisville,
what
and
year is that?
it's 2023.
Okay,
And so we've got a few years, but we are mindful of that and want to put ourselves in a beautiful position to make the best of that 100-year celebration, because there's a lot of good, no pun intended,
right.
that's happened in that time. So we are almost a 100-year organization. We are headquartered here in Louisville, Kentucky. But our name, as it states, is Goodwill Industries of Kentucky. And
Okay.
so we operate with a pretty broad statewide footprint. We operate in 103 of Kentucky's 120 counties. And in many of those counties, many people have become familiar with us, much like they have here, much like most people have in general, by way of our retail stores. People see that
Most
good.
people thought that's all Goodwill did, had retail stores.
They thought that was all we did. And let me tell you, that is just the tip of the iceberg.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Uh, we operate 66 retail stores, and those retail stores are great tools and assets to support our mission. And
Okay.
so while we operate those retail stores, and some people know that we're not a nonprofit organization, we don't operate for the purpose of running retail and thrift stores to sell discounted items to people. That's not why we exist. Goodwill actually operates with a real simple mission to help men and women with challenging backgrounds find success through what we call the power of work, helping those men and women get plugged in to employment opportunities in order to build self-sufficient lifestyles. Now, here's the thing. Those men and women, in most cases, are men and women who have challenging backgrounds. We're really intentional about making sure that we are helping the hardest to serve job seekers in this community. And those are people who have disabilities, be it physical, mental, intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities. It could be people with criminal backgrounds, criminal histories. It could be people with little to no education, addiction histories, no work experience. We use our programs and services to help those people. Now, where do we get resources to support our programs and services? Primarily through our retail stores. And that's the thing that makes Goodwill different. It's a social enterprise that works in tandem and in partnership with the communities where we operate, where men and women donate their once loved, gently used goods and items to Goodwill.
Okay.
And we bring them into our stores, and we use those stores then to sell those items to people who are looking for bargains for one reason or another.
Okay.
But not only do we use those stores to receive donations and to sell those goods, we have at Goodwill here in Kentucky 1,500 employees, and most of them are employed in our retail operations. And so,
So they've come through some type of program through Goodwill to get those jobs.
In many cases, not exclusively, but in a lot of cases, the people we work with. So we get those resources, we sell the items are donated, we sell them at the counter. The resources generated at the counter are coming back into our programs and services, like the ROS program, for instance, is an example of one of the programs. And then the men and women go through those programs, and our job is to find ways then to get them plugged into the workforce. Okay. Now, Ms. Janice, we have hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of employer partners all around the state. About 1,000 of them around the state, employer partners who work with us to help provide employment opportunities for these men and women who come through our programs. Every once in a while, we work with a man or woman who we're not able to get plugged immediately into one of our employer partners' employment opportunities. And so we'll get them connected at Goodwill. We'll get them a job at Goodwill. Sometimes it's driving one of our trucks. Sometimes it's working in our production area where we're processing the donated goods. Sometimes it's working on the front end of the retail store where they are interacting with shoppers and donors and those sort of things. But the idea is to get those men and women employed. And our first responsibility as a nonprofit organization with the mission to help make that happen is to commit ourselves to removing barriers that prevent those men and women from being successful. Okay. And as you can imagine, there are all sorts of barriers that prevent them from being successful. Yeah. Sometimes it is a criminal record that they can't shake. So what do? Goodwill ponies up its money, and we invest big money to finance on our end, free to them, cost us, expungement services to get their records expunged.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And Ms. Janice, let me tell you, when we do these expungement clinics, it's encouraging to know that Goodwill is providing the service and the support. But I will tell you, it breaks my heart sometimes when I see just how many people flood these venues where we host these expungement clinics. These are men and women who have some sort of criminal record, and they are wanting to have it expunged. The last one we did in person was in Lexington, Kentucky, and there were 400 people lined up. They couldn't even get in the building. I mean, they were lined up outside and down and around the corner. And so we recognize, because of the huge turnouts for these events, that is an area where we need to continue to invest resources to remove that barrier. Okay. And so we've spent a lot of time and effort here recently focusing on barrier removal. And so we're starting to look at things that prevent people from being successful. You can imagine one of the simplest things that you need. You think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You got to start with very basic things before you can take people to the top of the mountain. Right. And the first thing that typically shows up on people's list of needs is shelter. Okay. And some people we work with are homeless, or they are in unstable housing. And part of what we recognize is that we've got to figure out a way to put people in stable housing that allows them to get a job. I mean, think about how likely you would be to go pursue a job, to get a job, or to keep a job if you didn't have a permanent address. That's tough. Right. That's tough. And so for us, it's about finding what those barriers are and investing in programs and services that remove those barriers. And so we've been working a lot to remove those barriers. And I'm happy to say that after helping to work to remove those barriers, last year, in the middle of a pandemic, Ms. Janice, listen to this. In the middle of a pandemic, we helped place over 2,000 men and women in jobs.
Wow.
And 2,000 men and women in jobs.
That's unbelievable.
In jobs that paid, I want to say the average wage for those jobs was around $11 an hour, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's the ballpark. And so we're getting them started. Some clearly made a lot more than that. Others, helped balance that average out for us. But it was a start. And these employees that we helped plugged into opportunities, they went to work with about 700 of our employer partners around the state. So think about that. We've got 700 employer partners who said, Goodwill, if you can help us find the right types of employees, we'll hire them, get them plugged into job opportunities, and help them grow. And so we've helped do that. And then the other ones who had a little bit of difficulty finding jobs, guess what Goodwill did? Mm-hmm. Come on, we got a place for you.
Okay.
Our retail stores and our operations as an opportunity, as a place where
just if nothing to give them incentive to keep their hopes up.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Keep them engaged and still, we're still looking, but until that happens, you can come over here.
That's right. So I want people to understand that this is a nonprofit organization. It's a social enterprise that requires and leans on the community to help us find success in serving our participants who come through the programs that we manage. But it's only successful. I mean, I need to be really clear about all the great things that we are doing. They're only successful when the community agrees to support what we're doing. So when the community agrees to donate at a Goodwill store, or when they agree to write a check to support a Goodwill program or service, or when someone says, I need to go do some thrift shopping, and they show up at a Goodwill and they spend some money at a Goodwill. I mean, some of them don't know it, they don't understand it, but that is an investment in community
into
building.
The programming. Yeah.
They are making an investment. They don't know it in some cases, but they are investors in a social movement to improve their very own communities. And so it works when we work in tandem together. And so that's why this becomes so important, that we stay connected to the community. And so that gives you some hopefully perspective
the overall scope of Goodwill.
There are a lot of moving pieces below that programs and services. They're all focused on helping people remove barriers and rebuild themselves so that they can compete in the workforce. At the end of the day, it's about workforce preparedness and making sure that they can be self-sufficient. And so our programs might vary, but they all point back to that same intent.
To that basic goal that you have for participants. Okay.
That's exactly right.
Being that school's out now, DeVone, and then we'll move down to the West. Being that school's out, it's been one of my concerns. Naturally, the violence that's going on in our community, and I know I wrote a program. It's called Louisville All Stars because I've had a pretty respectful career, which is not the norm in the arts. I'm a performing artist. I'm 50 years. Last year, when COVID took my celebration away, 50 years in show business. And because I had that much time invested in it, I want to share what I know. Okay. So the 17 to 25-year-olds, the ones that have these in their hands, that either they're out of high school, they dropped out of high school, they're not going to college, they're not interested in going to college, but they may be talented.
That's right. Not maybe, they are talented.
They are. And it's always all children aren't maybe really even meant to go to college. Some people are manual laborers, and we need a manual labor workforce.
That's right.
So that was what I was looking to do to maybe help them, because there was really no one that, I can't say no one really helped me to get into show business, because my first manager was Harvey Fuqua.
Oh, wow. Is that right? Is that
Okay.
right?
So that's another Louisvillian,
That's right. That's right.
So my point is, you look at Muhammad Ali,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you look at Harvey Fuqua. Harvey
Mm-hmm.
Fuqua was Harvey of Harvey and the Moonglowes. Harvey Fuqua discovered Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, yeah. Motown. He Motown. He
Oh
had his
yeah,
finger
music
on
didn't.
Motown.
Barry was the chief,
Yeah.
but Harvey was a harmony music man.
I heard those stories. I've heard those
Okay,
stories. Yeah,
so our children. I mean, but you've got to. I just wanted to say that they can do anything they want to do.
they can. They can.
And because most people that come from Louisville, they kind of got it going on. Because see, we got a Muhammad Ali kind of attitude that we bad at whatever we gonna do. Okay, and I just believe that we all have that spirit, But sometimes our children need direction.
They do. They do.
And I've been trying to. Eventually, I'll get around to being able to share my knowledge with some of them. I'm going to do some of that with Miss Tina.
Oh,
Um,
good. Good.
I'm going to do one of those workshops like you do.
Oh, good. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
That's
I'm going to
great.
do one of
Great.
those. I
Great.
I
Great.
can't wait. I can't wait.
Great.
But
Great.
there's another program that you have. What is it? The Ignite.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Tell me about Ignite, because kids are out of school this week, and we need them to know that Goodwill has some programming.
So we are working with Kentuckiana Works, the City of Louisville, and other agencies. And Ms. Janice, part of what we recognize, and I'm sure you understand this, is that we've got a problem on our hands in this community.
Yes.
Violence is just out of control. It's at an all-time high. And if we're really serious about addressing that problem, we can't go it alone. We really have to create some tandems and leverage our resources and our partnerships so that we can expand this net and make space and room available for young people. And so Ignite and some other programs that we're now getting ourselves involved in at Goodwill provide work opportunities and job preparedness opportunities for young people in and around this community. And I want to be really clear about explaining why this becomes important for us at Goodwill, particularly right now, because most of the work that Goodwill has done has been around servicing adults, 18 and above, and really focusing on that adult population that needs help finding success in the workforce. But I mean, you can't live in this community and not recognize how big of a problem we are having with our young people.
Yeah.
And we just decided we wanted to be part of the solution. We wanted to be part of that solution. And so part of what we've been doing is building coalitions and working with others who have resources and bringing our resources to bear, which is one of the good things that Goodwill is able to do. We work with others. We don't just kind of show up with an empty hand and ask somebody to put a contract in our hand and let us manage that contract in a way that allows us to make money. We bring our resources to the table and beat up whatever it is we're working with, and bring our resources, our staff, all of those things to the table so that we can leverage how we're supporting young people. And so we're starting to have these conversations with others around the community. Literally just this weekend, I was with Christopher 2X here in the community, who has a big heart for young people. I mean, probably one of the biggest hearts I've seen and most sincere individuals I've ever seen about trying to make life better for young people, and is greatly concerned about what we're all seeing in this community. And so we're trying to figure out how we work together to address this problem. He's got a great ability to connect at the grassroots level in ways that I don't, ways that probably you don't, Ms. Janice, and others. And so for us, it's about, okay, how do we bring all of these partners together and help us figure out how we can start to address some of these problems? So we've got the Ignite program. We're working on something we got an announcement coming here really soon, like in maybe a week, I think. After the holiday, we've got another announcement coming. So I'm going to hold my tongue until then. But it's another effort for us to get engaged at the youth level where we can start doing work. And what I mean is grassroots, knocking on doors, grabbing people by the collar if we have to, like my grandmother said, and get them to sit down in a focused environment that allows them to think differently about where their life is headed. And
make different choices.
That's right. And it not just make different choices, but present to them different choices.
Different choices, right.
Sometimes you don't make
Give
a
them
different
some
choice.
options.
That's right. Sometimes you don't make a different choice because you don't feel like you have one.
Yeah.
And so we want to present some different options. And the truth is, you know this as well as I do, there are a ton of options for our young people, but we've got to get them plugged into them. We've got to get people who have a heart for young people off the couches. And we've got, and I know this is real because I've seen it on one too many occasions, but we've got to overcome this fear we have of our young people. Many of us have a fear of our young people. And I will tell you, I have an 11-year-old son, and he's the best kid in the world. I believe that. He's a great kid. He's smart. He is well-mannered, well-behaved. And looks to please his dad, and I love that about him.
Well, see, that's what we were raised up that way, you know. But we had fear. We had fear of our parents.
That's right.
You can, you know, you can get after me, Miss Mary down the street, but please don't tell my
mama.
You know, please don't tell on me.
Yeah.
You know, it'll never happen again.
Yeah.
You know, but now that village that we used to have, you know, now they're standing behind the curtains, peeping out, and don't want to tell. Nobody sees you pick up that phone and tell that you saw something that you need to report.
That's
because see, we're not doing that. This is what I want to say about that, DeVone.
Yes, ma'am.
The parents are going to come to bear the brunt of this.
Oh, I believe it. I absolutely believe it.
You know, this cannot just be trying to stop the violence that our kids are perpetrating on each other. In a minute, this parent is going to be held responsible for their child causing harm or deadly harm to their child.
Right.
Okay, so when that happens, those parents will begin to stop allowing the guns to be brought in the home because some things are being allowed.
Right.
And some parents know. And some parents know about the gang violence, but it's also starting at school. It's happening at school.
Yes.
You know, we got the bullies at school. Okay, we have to pay attention. We have to be more hands-on as a community with our children.
We do.
And parents need to just take their children. You know, it used to be a time I was talking, I don't know who I was talking to. Must have been Eddie Woods. We were talking about, you know, your parents, if you misbehave, they send you down to grandmama's house down in Tennessee somewhere. And you stay for the summer and you work.
That's right.
And you work, but you probably come back a little bit different.
That's right.
Than you were when you left.
That's right.
You know, but, you know, our whole honor system, our whole respect for our elders, that whole sense of community we've lost, and we have to rebuild that.
Well, and it broke my heart. I took my son this past weekend to Kentucky Kingdom. He wanted to get season passes.
Okay.
And Miss Janice, we were there, and there were a lot of young kids there, unsupervised, and it hurt my heart to see how poorly behaved they were.
I thought they had the rules up. They had to be shut.
The rule came after that weekend.
Oh, after.
So it literally was a few days after my son and I were there that they instituted the policy, and it was because there was a fight and two girls and the police were there and they were breaking it up, and the police were far outnumbered, way too many kids for the police to manage on their own. But I was there as the police was talking about it, and he was explaining to me that these two girls got into a fight. The mom pulled up, and the police said he felt a sense of relief because here comes another adult who was going to help him manage the scenario.
She behaved worse than the kids.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
That's what we deal with. Yeah.
And so we've got a lot of work to do. And so I watch that, and I think to myself, we can no longer sit on the couch, watch the news, and say somebody's got to do something about it. We are the somebody.
We are the somebody.
We are the somebodies. We have to do something.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do everything. Might be one kid. Might just be one kid. Go grab you one kid, spend some time with that.
And then you have to say, what's wrong?
Right.
Baby, is something wrong? Is something going on? And you need to talk about it. Because, see, I don't think we're asking them how they're doing anymore.
Right.
You know, they're not in an environment where, you know, you used to be when you go to your friend's house and their mother was there. They was, hi, Johnny, how you doing? How's your mother? Is everything all right? Or they felt close enough maybe to that person to say, Miss Ann, can I talk to you?
Right.
But we have to ask our kids, is everything all right? It's almost as simple as that to start with.
Well, you've got to open it up, and it's got to start with them believing that you care.
Yeah.
If you can believe, if they believe that you care, you can have any conversation in the world with you.
Absolutely.
Any conversation. And so I said all of that to say that Goodwill recognizes that as an issue, and we are about to get a lot more intentional here in Louisville about helping to address those issues, building and growing a staff, strengthening a staff that's going to be able to do that work. But I'm more excited, not just about the staff, but about the partnerships that we're bringing together to help do this work. And so we won't be doing it alone. There are some people with some great expertise who maybe need some other resources. And so we're going to be bringing people together to help that. All right. I see a hand in the air.
Hand in the air, waving like you just don't care, but I care. So now we've talked about the kids, and that group Ignite, that program Ignite is for, what's the age on that?
Ignite is, I want to say it's 16 to 24. I believe it is.
Okay, all right. So because I want the word to get out about the programs. Okay. That's one reason that I want to have Miss Tina. I want to have you. Sure. I want to have Miss Sharon, because I wanted to just blow Goodwill up, because I was so touched. When you think about, I had to think about where I was being led to. I was brought to Goodwill. I didn't know about all the programs. My friend brought me Miss Ruby.
Miss Ruby.
I was having this dinner conversation with Miss Ruby 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And so Miss Tina invites me to the graduation. And I'm thinking, I said, Lord, the Lord done guided me to Goodwill. I was supposed to go down.
Into, did you?
I was going down the street to the Goodwill, to the Gucci Goodwill, because I know what that is. And when I got there, I thought about just the name. I said, Goodwill.
Goodwill.
Goodwill. That says a lot just in the name. It's bringing about goodwill to this community.
Well, and I'll expand that even more when I talk to people about the work that we are doing and the work that's on the horizon for us. I tell people, good will come.
Okay.
Will come. It's coming. It's coming.
Okay.
It's coming.
And Miss Tina says it's about being together, because we have to do this together.
It is, which is what we're doing on the corner of 28th and Broadway. So if you'll allow me to explain what that is.
Come on, work with me. You got it. That's what you call a segue.
Because we are trying to create a universe on the corner of 28th and Broadway, a one-stop shop universe where people can go and get access to programs and services, organizations and agencies to improve their lives.
Okay.
So Ms. Janice, I started at Goodwill on May 13th, 2019.
Okay.
And on May 14th, our CEO came into my office and she said, our board has expressed an interest in us relocating to West Louisville. Do you think you can find us a home and help make that happen? I said, absolutely. I'm rooted in West Louisville. I'm doing this interview right now in my home in West Louisville. And I've been here for a long time. Spent nearly most of my life here in West Louisville, one capacity or another. And I used to work in economic development focused on West Louisville, business growth for GLI, the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And so when I was asked to help Goodwill find a space, I started tapping my old networks and asking what was available in terms of property and facilities. And I got led to one of my former clients, Cypress Solutions, Tube Turns, that old building on the corner of 28th and Broadway. It's an old manufacturing operation, and they had been there for decades and decades and decades.
But now that was the old Falls City Brewery years ago, before Tube Turns, wasn't it?
No. We're further down. We're further down on Broadway.
So you're not right on the corner.
No, we are. Falls City Brewery was a little bit further up. I think I might be. Am I wrong about that? Okay, maybe I am. Well, I know that this building has been there for a long time.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
operation has been there for a long time. I'm not sure what was there before it, so it could have very well been. But this building and this company had been there for years, but they had started to downsize, and they were not making good use of that space at all. And I learned that was the case, and I went and had a conversation with them. The building wasn't on the market, but I had a conversation and told them what Goodwill was attempting to do. And we, long story short, were able to work a deal where we purchased 20 acres on the corner of 28th and Broadway, all the way back to Garland.
Okay.
That sits next to the NIA Center. Many people are familiar with the NIA Center there. We purchased that with the intent to relocate our headquarters there. So my office, our CEO's office, and our leadership team is going to be there. Our HR department, our marketing team, communications, all of that stuff, IT, all of that will be located on the corner of 28th and Broadway. But that's small potatoes, really, in comparison to what else is going to be there, because we're moving a lot of our programs and services to the corner of 28th and Broadway. So some of the stuff.
Goodwill is moving to the west.
It's moving to the hood.
To the hood. All right, come on down.
It's good. That's good wonderful. In the hood is what it is.
Okay, but that's good in the hood. Okay, I hear you. That's wonderful.
And so, but we didn't stop there, because this vision that we have is bigger than Goodwill. It really is about creating room and space on our campus for other partners who do the kind of work that we do. So our COO, her name is Rena Sharp. She said when she first started at Goodwill, she was in some community meetings and learning about all of these other agencies that do this work that's similar to ours, and that we have, complementary programs and services. And she said, why don't we all just get a big house and move in together, is what she said. It'd be nice. Well, that's essentially what we're doing. We're building a big house where these other partnering agencies are going to co-locate with us under one roof, and people will be able to come to this campus, and they'll be able to get programs, services, amenities to support them in their efforts to strengthen their lives, rebuild their lives, whatever the case might be. And so we are going to create this campus with I call this a universe of services on the corner of 28th and Broadway. But then one of the things that we realized we absolutely needed to do before we committed fully to any development strategy for that corner was spend some time engaging the community and understanding what the community wanted to see on that corner.
Okay.
So Ms. Janice, I spent 5 months leading an effort to engage the community. And we had to do it during COVID. So it wasn't the easiest thing to do, because typically I would have rented out some gyms and community centers and churches, and we would have got some town hall meetings and got everybody together.
Right.
And we would have talked about this, and I would have gotten feedback, but we had to do it differently. So we started a website, goodwillwestlouisville.com. We created an online survey that asked people about what they wanted to see from Goodwill on the corner of 28th and Broadway. We asked them about the community itself, what they liked, what they felt like needed to be improved, and what they thought Goodwill can do to be a good neighbor in the community.
Okay.
But we didn't stop there. We did radio advertisements to make sure we got the word out. We did social media pushes, and we actually did what the politicians do. Think about during campaign season. What do you get in your mailbox? All of those flyers.
Right.
We sent a mailer to everyone who lives in West Louisville, asked them to send it back to us for free, and we would then take all of that feedback. We've got thousands and thousands of responses from people in the community. And then when COVID started to subside, we went and set up a booth outside of the Kroger's on 28th and Broadway and talked to hundreds of people as they were coming out of the grocery store. You know, you pick the right day to go to the grocery store, you can catch a whole lot of people.
Right.
And we had a beautiful day to do it. And so we did that. And we've got thousands upon thousands of responses. And we are in the process now of synthesizing all of that feedback. And we're going to take what the community shared with us and figure out what's in alignment with our mission as an organization, what's in alignment with our vision for the corner of 28th and Broadway, and what's in alignment with our pocketbook. What can we afford?
Right.
And figure out what from the what the community has shared can we bring onto that campus as well, and create a community asset that will serve the community. I will tell you one of the things, Ms. Janice, that I'm really hoping we're able to accomplish. The communities ask us to do it. I've lived in West Louisville for a long time, and I'm in desperate desire of one, and that's just a place to sit down and eat. We're talking about doing a community cafeteria, a place where people can sit down and eat. You don't have to be in need of our programs and services. You might just want a good, hot, sit-down meal that's not something you get from a drive-through.
Right.
And do that on a beautiful campus, in a beautiful cafeteria, in your own neighborhood. So those are the kind of things that we're having conversations about and trying to figure out what that ultimate design will be for that campus. And so we are about 2 months away, I'd say, from finalizing the design model for that campus. And when we do that, we're going to have a big coming out party, and we're going to invite the community to come out and kind of see this vision and understand what it is what we're proposing, and hopefully get their support in us moving this thing forward, where we can start building during the first quarter of 2022.
Wow. That's exciting.
It is very exciting. I will tell you, Ms. Janice, this is the most exciting project in my entire career. I tell people this, for me, is a legacy project. It's one of those things you look back on in years and years to come, and be able to take pride in knowing that you had a role in helping to make it happen.
But look at the time frame. Now is the time. We need, our hope and our faith is not gone. We feel downtrodden. This whole community, I think, is we're trying to find a way to heal.
I agree.
I think we've been bruised morally and spiritually, and definitely we know we've been bruised physically.
Right.
But I believe that we have to have faith that there is some result. We have to find a good result, goodwill, good results, that this community can come back and take pride in itself again, because we got an image problem.
We do.
So the city wants to do a lot of things, but the city has to say, first we need to, you got to fix up your house before you can invite some company.
Absolutely. That is absolutely right. And that's what
you got to fix your house up before you invite company. Every time when companies come, you got to clean up.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's just not on politicians.
No, not at all.
No, it's not on politicians and all the organizations that need. It's the families, it's the parents need to get involved, to be more involved, so that we can find ways, because they can tell us more than they're telling us.
Oh, I believe if they find comfort, if they're comfortable, I think you're right. We're all trying to figure this out. And it takes leadership.
Right.
There needs to be somebody who can help lead us to a better place. This community is longing for someone to step up and be a leader in that way. But you're right. It is now is the time. And you're right. So you talk about the time for Goodwill to do this work. We clearly didn't plan it this way. It wasn't like we saw what was going to happen this past summer and said, a year before that, it was time to start getting ready for this work. It just happened that way. But Miss Janice, my grandmother says, the best time to make changes are when changes are being made. And and there are a lot of changes being made right now. We're trying to figure out who we're going to be when we grow up. We're trying to figure out how we can be better as a result of this. And the other thing that I start to notice is that there are people who have a heart to help us as a community become better. Some of them don't even live here, but they have a heart and they want to support it. They don't feel like they're in a position to lead it, but they want to be a part of supporting it. They want to invest either through their time, talents, or treasures through efforts to do that. And I think part of the responsibility for those of us who have entities, programs, institutions to manage is to make room and space for other people to come in and be a part of that growth.
I want to say this to you is, like you said someone to lead. I think now is the time that, because we have a lot of voices out there, we have a lot of leaders in our community. Everybody's leading something. I love them. But everybody's leading something. But it seems like if we can come together under one tent, and have that conversation, you want to, sometimes you hear about other races that come together and they pool their energies and their resources together. Right. And we want to know, how did they do? Because they come together. Because everybody that is a leader, you need some backup support. But at a certain time, this is the piece that you can lead, and this is the piece. But then we can all speak with one voice.
Right. And
we're all under that big tent.
We'd be so much more powerful if we could do that. So much more powerful.
I could scream.
We have some brilliant people here in this community.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely brilliant. I've seen them up close and personal. But brilliance isolated is not as strong as effort combined.
Yeah, if we all come together and everybody gets a chance to speak, it's just like I thought. Now, this is one of my things. I said, now the city got behind the Norton's Health Pavilion, the track pavilion. Okay, so we got that done. Mark that one off. Okay, so everybody now, let's move over here. Let's everybody come over here and let's get behind Goodwill. Let's get that up and running like we needed to. And everybody get behind it. That's our focus. Because after Goodwill, there's another project.
That's right. There will be.
That we need to go and get behind all together, whether you like it or not. You hear me?
I love it. I love it.
If we could move like that. If we could move like that, I'm going to tell my audience about what I want them to watch this weekend, about what we come from. We come from knowing how to survive. We've had trauma in our lives since they brought us over here.
Literally.
Like we was on a trip and came to visit.
Never went home.
No, and never went back home. We were just so enthused with America that we just wanted to stay. But anyway, that we have, if we can move with that one voice, just like that came up, everybody got behind it. Goodwill. Everybody needs to get behind it. Not just get behind Goodwill on 28th Street, but get behind, if you've got a sister, a brother, or uncle, or cousin that needs to be in one of these programs, go tell them about it.
Right. That's right, Ms.
Got to tell them where to go. There are resources available. Sometimes we don't take advantage of our resources. They're there for us. We need to go. Don't nobody need to come pick us up to take us. If it's up on, we know where it is. Catch the bus, get up there. You got cars. You go to concerts. You go to what you want to go to.
That's right. There's no.
But we have to prioritize what's important in our lives, and the parents have to say, "I heard about this program. I'm going to get my child in it because my child has too much idle time."
Yeah, we see so much of that. But I will tell you, I am encouraged though. over the course of these 2 years where I've been working and helping to lead this for Goodwill, I've had so many encouraging conversations. I've had so many people who've stepped up and said, whatever you need me to do to be a
Yeah,
champion, to help tell
that's
the
what time it is.
word. And so there has been a lot of that. And I'll be transparent and tell you, Miss Janice, a lot of it has come from other leaders who didn't have that type of support when they were doing their programs and realized what it felt like and said, DeVone, I don't want you to experience that. I'm going to help you. I'm not going to let you
Yeah,
experience
yeah.
it.
I tell you, I'm gonna tell you this one because you never heard it before from me. But my favorite movie is Jerry Maguire.
Okay. Okay.
It's not Show Me the Money.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
Help Me Help You.
Help
Help
me.
me help
Help
you.
you.
You know, if we
I
keep doing
remember that
that back
line.
and forth to each
Mhm.
other,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we'll be on sure footing.
We will. We will.
We'll be on sure footing if we just help each other. You know, right now I can't help you, but I'm over here and I've got it's like what's the game we used to play? Tug of war.
Yeah.
Let's pull this over the line.
Yeah. Pull it.
That get over the line, then we get behind another one and pull it over the line because we are capable of doing that.
We are. We at Louisville's full of greatness. We've got a history of greatness,
Yeah.
and I'm convinced that we are circling the back around to greatness. We had an ugly 2020.
Yeah.
It was not our best moment, not our best year. But I think as a result of that, we're going to see some bold efforts. We're already starting to see some that are going to be used to help move us in a better direction. So, as bad as it was, I actually am encouraged. That's because I've had some closed door meetings and some closed door conversations, and recognize that there's some new leaders in certain positions that are all about collaboration. They are
Okay.
all about finding ways to partner and all about solutions.
Yes. Got to find the solution.
All about solutions, and so that has me excited, and I'm convinced that we'll be having a different conversation this time next year.
Well, DeVone, I want to thank you for being my dinner guest.
Thank you very
You
much.
know, the what was on the menu was this conversation about Goodwill. That
It
was
was
that was the
beautiful.
entree for the evening.
It was
But
beautiful.
if you ever want to come back and talk about what's going on and you need to kind of get the word out, just call on me. I'll be right here for you.
I'll be back. We've got more coming. We've got some big announcements coming up in the next month or so, and it'll be a good reason for me to come back once we announce some of those. So stay tuned.
Thank you.
Yes,
I appreciate you showing up. Hang out for a minute. I'll be right back, and I want to chit chat with you about something.
okay.
Just hold on. All right, that was Mr. DeVone Holt. You know, Louisville is on the edge of being very progressive. I think we've always been there. But like I said, we need to come up under one big tent. We've got a lot of creative minds. We've got a lot of smart, hard workers in the city. DeVone Holt is another one who's doing some heavy lifting. He's doing the heavy lifting at Goodwill. And Goodwill is moving to 28th and Broadway in the hood. We're going to have a community corporation in our neighborhood. How about that? And it's not a bank. It's something that is for us. We say for us, by us, but it may not be by us, but it'll be for us. But it's for the whole community where we can go and have viable resources. And they've got them now. You don't have to wait till they open up 2022. We got things to do between now and then. You can't wait. We've got programs for you to send your children to during the summer months. Go send them up and get them in Ignite. You got some friends that are having a rough time. They're coming out of incarceration. They have drug issues. People that are trying to turn their lives around. They are, but you can't help them, but you can tell them where to go to get some help. So that's what help me help you, help me help you. I say it every time because I think that's what it takes. That's the Jesus in us. You better start acting like you got something in you. Because you got something in you. Y'all's brought up the same way. Some people may not be, but they know about it. So on that note, it's dinner time. Guess who's coming to dinner? Bon appetit. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on Friday. Take care. Be well. I would say keep your face mask on. Keep them on just for a little while longer. Because I saw all those people that those NBA games. That's a little frightening. Be safe. Be well. Good night.